a lot of answers to a ton of questions. But the one thing is clear, you are dealing with a person who's trans, that was transitioning. Are you going to be examining at all some of the drugs that are used in order to make that transition happening, to see if it plays a role? Because we also know there was a trans shooter in the Tennessee situation.
Yeah, we are doing those kind of studies now at NIH. We're launching studies on the potential contribution of some of the SSRI drugs and some of the other psychiatric drugs that might be contributing to violence. You know, many of them on there have black box warnings that warn of suicidal ideation and homicidal ideation. So we can't exclude those as a culprit, and those are the kind of studies that we're doing.
So I've never seen that medicine, but you're saying that if you get it, some of the side effects could be homicide, suicide?
Well, there are black box warnings on some of these psychiatric drugs.
So this comes right after what occurred yesterday. What's y'all thoughts? I know it's very unfortunate what happened, but pretty much, you know, a lot of people suspect that, unfortunately, you know, comes out later that a lot of these people doing these unalivements and shootings, they're on a lot of medication. And, you know, unfortunately, Big Pharma runs this country, and there's not much investigation that goes. I'm going to have the nurse on the line comment first. Mia, what's your thoughts?
SSRIs, it's like a double-edged sword, because when they help people, they truly do help people. However, there's a black box warning for a reason. I mean, some of the side effects are extreme, like extreme. Suicide among kids, I mean, it's extreme. Blood disorders, gastrointestinal bleeding, death because your sodium levels drop so low. I mean, SSRIs are no joke. I mean, it can be fatal. The fact that they have a black box warning and the fact that people do take them, it should only be an extreme psychotic cases. Should anybody be on this? It should not be like a basic level. You should be trying something way more mellow, like Zoloft first. Pharmaceutical, it's almost like pharmaceutical warfare, because the pharmaceutical companies basically control Congress, and they control basically everything in here. There's nothing but ads everywhere. It's on YouTube Kids. I mean, there are ads everywhere convincing people to take these meds. We've become way too complacent with taking a pill instead of eating a vegetable at this point in time. And for most people, it's so much easier to take these pills instead of getting to know your children. Instead of restructuring our education system, it's easier to give them Adderall and Zoloft to mellow them out when it's like they're kids. They should be outside playing. They should be eating healthy foods. And the same people that control the pesticides are the same people that control own the pharmaceutical companies, which are the same people that also own the food that the red box dye, blue box, and yellow dye are in. It's all of the same companies that all work together to make you literally sick, continuously sick, which are the same people that put all of the God knows what and cloud seeding up in the air, which are heavy metals, which trickle down to us as well when it rains. It's literally all the same companies. It would not surprise me anybody who was on SSRIs long-term would commit any sort of atrocity like this. I mean, the brain can only handle so much, and eventually it's going to crack.
True. I personally think that SSRIs should not be long-term. I think they should be studied more, you know, for if you're in a PTSD situation, working with counseling. But anyways, I'm not a doctor. Skeptic, what's your thoughts?
I agree, right? Because I also feel like sometimes I'm very pro-science, but at the same time, I myself am like to educate myself before I take any kind of medication. I am not the type of person to medicate myself. I will let my body fight it out. I will, if I say I'm going to the hospital, you best believe I feel terrible. I'm at the end. Like, I don't know. I get that from my dad. My dad hates hospitals. I hate hospitals. But I'm pro science. So like, I'm not anti-V or anything like that. I'm like very pro use whatever you need to use. However, when it comes to like depression, I know people that were on SSRIs that tried to get off that went through hell. Like,
Yes.
they felt like they didn't need them anymore when they needed them. And a lot of them are women, let me just say, because there's this thing going on with women where sometimes you'll go through these emotions and you don't know what's going on, and you go to your doctor and your doctor would just prescribe you whatever because they want you to feel better. And I know of a personal case of my friend who was trying to get off of them, and I hated seeing her go through what she went through to get off of them, and finally she did. But it was terrible. So now, like, when I hear people say like, oh, you know, I went to go see my doctor or whatever, I'm thinking about SSRIs, I will be like, look, your gut health has shown, like, we have data that shows that if you have a healthy gut, a lot of the times what you thought was depression will kind of clear itself up. And I'm not saying that it's always the case. Sometimes you need medication, but I don't know that we speak about the effects of it enough, especially with women. Like, I know so many girls that are on them that got on them because they thought it was like going to be a short-term thing, and now it's been 10 years and they're still on them. Sometimes they even prescribe them for ADHD, which I don't know why they do that. But anyways, I do think that SSRIs have their place, and I'm not saying they don't work. I'm just saying that I don't know if we talk about like what you're putting on the line and how much you're going to become dependent on them.
Yeah, I'll share a personal story. I had postpartum and I took it. You know, unfortunately, when you have postpartum, it is viable for that because there's a chemical imbalance. But I will tell you, coming off of it was hell. It was painful. I physically felt pain from head to toe. So it is hard coming off of it. And I was glad when I did come off of it because I never felt better. But I needed it at the time because I do believe women, when you have a baby, you have a chemical imbalance. And I do believe studies show when you go through PTSD and you have trauma in your life, you have a chemical imbalance. So I do think there is a need for it. But I think that these big pharmaceutical companies, they're abusing it and they're giving it to people long term, when really it should be to get you through whatever you're going through with the help of, counseling and different things like that. That's just me. Gray, what's your thoughts?
First off, Doc, Nora was trying to set you up. I know you didn't show up, but that was the weak clip that she was gonna use. RFK.
I didn't get deep. We ain't going deep tonight because I'm not trying to bore the people. But this just happened. This is a live clip. This was live. I mean, this was like today. It just coincidentally today they had him on. But I was like toying back and forth if I was going to really educate folks tonight. But Doc really sounded kind of ignorant yesterday, so I said I had to do it. But go ahead.
But RFK is hard to trust with what he's saying and what he has going on. I think the bigger question or the bigger thing that we should be looking at is that politicians have become scientists, and we're talking about social stuff. So basically, what they were saying, okay, this person is trans, is based on this medicine. This medicine may have caused this person to do this. You're gonna need an actual scientific experiment where you have a controlled environment and people take this medication and other people don't take this medication, and you see what actually happens and what your hypothesis is and what your conclusion is. So for me, it's like you can say that it's the medication, but this hasn't been tested by actual scientists.
It has been tested. They have warning labels on it that says that this can cause thoughts of suicide and homicide, that it can cause you to think about unaliving people. There are warning labels on these drugs.
Well, then that school should do a class action lawsuit towards this drug company.
Again, but let me be clear. I don't know if the person that did what they did yesterday was on SSRIs. We don't know that yet. Let me be clear. But months down the line, you hear after a lot of these shootings, these people are, unfortunately. So let me be clear and put that out there.
Well, I mean, obviously we've had all types of drugs that have caused like harm to Americans. I mean, like the opioid crisis, that probably is also a company that should be sued. And then I know people complain about the vaccine and all of this stuff, but with the drugs inserting something in your body, if it causes something for you to happen with your mental psychosis and you're causing harm to other people, that would be horrific.
Enzo, what's your thoughts? Do you think it's good that RFK is like doing an investigation on this?
Absolutely. I mean, RFK is a lot of things I really don't. He wouldn't be my first choice for the position. I mean, but he's in it. So, I mean, I'm actually looking forward for if he actually comes out with the whole autism study, like the link between vaccines and everything like that. That's something that I've been looking into extensively for the last couple of years myself. I'm no expert in it. I would love to see what they say. When it comes down to what happened yesterday, I'm not going to sit here and say 100% it's because of drugs or antidepressants or anything like that, but there is a strong link to it. Look at a lot of mass unalivers and school shooters. I mean, a lot of them, the one things they have in common is mental health issues and the drugs that they're on for antidepressants, SSRIs, a lot of things. Biggest problem to me is that I'm against lobbying altogether. 100% always will be. We'll speak about it for everything in the government. Because the government, Congress is supposed to be for we the people, not for big lobbying groups, big pharma, banks, everything like that. And that's what this has turned into. Problem I have with the drug companies is entirely like, yes, they do studies. They do studies on what the side effects are for these drugs and what it could be. Like some people, it might not affect them the same way. Well, with this person, like they do a controlled experiment on X amount of people. I'm not an expert. I'm not going to make up any numbers. And they say, okay, well, this is perfect for 330 million Americans. Not going to affect everybody the same exact way. That's why we have these crazed issues of people unaliving themselves, doing things like this. It's just it's a terrible look, and I really would like for Big Pharma and all these companies to actually do more extensive tests on people that have different because everybody has different DNA makeups. However, it hits them is going to hit them differently. It's not a one shoe fits all for everybody when it comes to medications and everything like that. Like I'm agree with Skeptic. I'm against medications altogether. I try to stay away from everything as much as I can myself when it comes to that. 'Cause I don't know what it really could do or what the benefits are.
Okay.
But
Hold on.
am I correct on this statistic? Aren't most mass pewers, aren't they like diagnosed after? Because I was looking at like a list. We were talking about this today. Most of them were not diagnosed prior to the incident, but they were diagnosed once they were arrested. I don't know if someone has this statistic, if it's true or
Can you
not.
ask
But
the question again? I'm sorry, Skeptic.
most mass pewers were not diagnosed until after the incident, from what I understand. They weren't
I
diagnosed
mean,
prior.
from my understanding, a lot of them like self unalive themselves. I mean, from the ones that like, yeah, from the ones that get caught, they're obviously going to plead insanity or do whatever they can do to
Yeah, I
get
was,
out of charges. I mean, I would agree there. Yeah.
but the reason why I was saying that is because the RFK claim was that the medication was causing that. That wasn't what I had concluded from the clip. But when
Mhm.
Grace said that, so if that's the claim, in order for you to be prescribed any kind of medication, you would have to have a diagnosis prior, from what I understand. So if they haven't even been diagnosed until after the incident, that means that they probably weren't on any medications, right?
That makes
Not
sense.
aware. I haven't really looked into it that much. I'm just going based off of what we've seen already with the ones that have unalived themselves and the manifestos that they've put forward. But I'm basically going off of, I mean, listen, there's no disputing mental health is a major issue in the United States. But, and then the easiest way for us to go about it is medication.
Well, uh,
I'm gonna play the next clip now, guys.
Old logo. They listen to